So I move to approve the zoning board meeting minutes from Wednesday, April 12th.
Second.
Okay, polling members, Darlene,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well, Cadigan. So those minutes are approved. What else we got?
I don't know, are there any additions or deletions from the agenda?
Yeah, we wanted to talk to Mr. Barbati about joining the zoning board. And I don't know if that's on the agenda or not.
There might be something under correspondence. Beth?
There's his volunteer response form is under correspondence. So
Okay.
yeah, that's right.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we have a few things under correspondence.
All right, let me take a look here. I wish I had a battery sitting around somewhere. So what's this 3.6 biomap?
Oh, that's just something that I put for the board's information. The land use department received an update about the program, and I've uploaded a brochure, and there's also a webinar on how to use it. It's basically it's a tool for conservation, identifying conservation areas and communities. So that's that.
Oh.
Does that
thank
link
you.
up with the state mapping system, which I can't remember the name. Does it?
Mass Mapper. I believe it's a different platform, but you can use both somehow interchangeably if you're quite tech savvy. But you can watch the program that Nashua River Watershed Association put up a couple days ago. That's on YouTube, and I put the link in your folder if you wanted to watch that and learn more about how to actually use it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
So, you have Mr. Barbati here. Maybe you want to introduce him now? Just a thought.
Sure. I'm trying to remember what he works for somebody relevant to what we're doing here.
He's on
I
the
can
call
take the
right
floor.
Go for it.
Yeah. I should take the hat off, be a little more formal here. I can give a quick elevator speech. Yeah, I work for the General Services Administration for the United States government. Yeah, we're like short of a dissertation, we're like the federal government's landlords. So we do all real estate services for every government agency. It's all centralized except for like the State Department because they're overseas. But yeah, so basically, I have a lot of experience in everything from utilization to dispositions, divestitures, acquisitions. In fact, me getting rid of properties, which is, the brunt of my work, actually probably causes a lot of work for zoning boards because you can't zone federal property. So I probably cause a lot of headaches around New England. But, I have real-time real estate knowledge. Great job. I do a lot of, wheeling and dealing with local municipalities. And ultimately, we've been here for, I'll round up and call it 3 years. I think it's important to be involved in the local community. You plan to stay in for a while. I'm originally, if we want to go deeper, I grew up in Duxbury, Massachusetts, joined the Army, went to college out in Montana where I met my wife. We moved back. We came up here, checking out houses, loved it, bought a house, and we've been here since the hit of COVID, I guess.
Just
It's
Is
time
that
to
too much?
arrive.
Is that yeah, right? Is that enough? Is that too little? Do we want more?
No, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, so your appointment is scheduled for the Board of Selectmen's meeting, I believe, on June 6th. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you on the board.
very much.
Nothing.
Looking forward to be here.
All right, what else do we have now? This stuff.
So that was 3.2?
Hang on, I'm looking.
And 3.1 actually.
Yeah. So 3.3 is the MBTA Communities Compliance Mission Project. Beth, were you given the update for that?
Yeah, sure. We actually have, I don't think anybody attended the kickoff meeting from the ZBA, except for Dave. I think Dave was there. So on May 8th, the planning board and MRPC had a kickoff meeting. I sent the invitations to the board and the materials that were presented at the meeting. It went very well. Everybody kind of has a good idea of, I think, what our mission is. And there is a resource library that's been set up by the webmaster on the website, so you can research it there. At this stage, the town is identifying areas to create what we assume will be an overlay district for compliance. And we're working again with MRPC. Trying right at this stage, identifying areas that will be pretty much turned over to MRPC to run on their model. And they will come back with some feasibility, some feasible areas in Townsend where this will work. So we're into it. Everything's launching and things are looking really good.
Awesome.
Well, I think this has changed a bit from the original download from DHCD, right? So what's the current status in terms of what the town is supposed to do? I mean, there was a as of right multifamily district that we were supposed to create, but I don't know if that's still the case or not.
Yes, we had to create a zoning for as of right multifamily housing. Maximum, I think a minimum was 178 units, and the density is 15 per acre. We're looking at around a 12-acre parcel. It doesn't have to be one parcel. And there's a lot of different criteria that we're looking at with MRPC now. Obviously excluding town-owned properties, some areas that aquifer protection and environmentally sensitive areas. Working with staff from Board of Health, Building Department, we're all staff are working with MRPC and sort of the Water Department. We've been doing some mapping and just evaluating the parcels that would potentially be feasible and then passing them on to MRPC. But you do have a public hearing at 7:10, so I don't know where. Oh, Vicky's on. Great. So you do have a public hearing starting at 7:10.
Okay.
All right. I don't remember what so let me go back to the hearing.
Mr. Chanel is normally the clerk, and he is not here tonight. So,
Right. So I guess he can't read the notice. Boy, I'm having I don't know if I can expand this.
Bill, I'll volunteer to read the notice if you'd like.
Oh, that'd be great, David, if you would, because I can't, the print is so fine and I don't know how to change the magnification on this
Okay.
browser.
Okay, if you're ready.
Yep, go for
In
it.
accordance with MGL Chapter 40A, subsection 10 in the Townsend zoning bylaw, the Townsend Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a remote access virtual public hearing on Wednesday, May 31st, 2023 at 7:10 p.m. on the application of Sally Thurber under zoning bylaw 145-33C5 and 145-66. The applicant is requesting a variance from bylaw 145-33C5, parking area design and location for the placement of one ADA compliant handicap parking space within the required front yard setback. The property is located at 22 Main Street, Assessors Map 41, Block 6, Lot 0, in the outlying commercial district. The link to join the Zoom meeting is long. Parties wishing to speak in support of or in opposition to this application may do so in writing prior to the hearing or in attending. Copies of this application are available for review in Townsend Town Hall during business hours or email requests to zba@townsendma.gov. Signed, William Cadigan, Chairman, Zoning Board of Appeals.
Great, thank you. So as I understand it, we have a plan.
Well, do we need to open the hearing?
Yeah, I guess that's probably a good idea.
Okay, I move that we open the hearing as just described.
Second.
Polling the members. Dave Funioli,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Cadigan votes yes as well. Thanks. Let's see. Application, I think that has it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the print. There it is. And I've got to. I have to. Oh. Okay, so it's a small cape, and the setback is what? 45. Can't remember. I looked at one of these prints and it was fairly clearly marked, but
I thought it was 31 feet, Bill.
no, it's more than that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe can we have the applicant maybe explain why there's a request for a variance? for this?
Couple
Please.
of points before we do that. Okay, so it has to do with the handicap parking spot being in the front yard setback, Darlene.
Yes.
So, but if you look at the land space requirements table, in a commercial zone, the front yard setback's only 20 feet. So I'm not sure that we actually need a variance, because I think we might need a couple of feet, but we don't need a variance from 50 feet, that's for sure. So I don't know where the 50-foot number came from. It may be that the bylaw is inconsistent, but
Oh,
Excuse me, Chairman Cadigan. The application says 30 feet. Did you read the application? Would you like me to pull it up? The front yard setback is 30 feet for an OCD,
okay,
and that's what they've applied for.
all right. And how far into that is their parking place? Does it say?
21 feet. They've provided 21 feet.
That doesn't answer my question.
Okay.
The,
So,
the parking lot is 21, well, it's a 20-foot parking space, probably, right?
Yes.
If it meets our parking space requirement or size requirements, which is 200 square feet, so it doesn't necessarily have to be 20 feet long. It could be a little wider and a little shorter, as long as it gets to 200 square feet. But all right. I was looking at gosh, I can't do this. I need two screens and I don't have them here.
Bill, should I give you screen sharing capabilities?
Not me. No, give it to Beth because it'll be easier for her to screen share stuff than me.
I'm looking at the plans and I don't see in the parking lot where, which parking space needs the variance. It's not clear to me.
If I may, the parking. My name is Frank McPartland. I'm the engineer on the project from Dillis and Roy, sitting in for
Right.
Stan Dillis, who is on vacation, I believe, in New Mexico today at this time. Lucky
Sweet.
guy. So we need the variance to have the accessible parking space that's at the front of the building, in that proposed location. We have that space located at the front of the building because that is the only accessible entrance on within the building. I believe there is a rear entrance, but there are internal stairs that would lead to it not being accessible. So we put the van handicap accessible
Okay.
parking stall in the front. And then
Okay,
are
so it's
putting in
where
an
it says the
accessible
word
ramp.
van in the front.
Correct.
That's
yes.
it. Okay. I was just trying to
Yes.
figure out the location. There wasn't anything that pointed or directed me. Okay. I guess that's a little wheelchair.
That's
Okay.
the standard accessible symbol with the it will be signed with the standard required blue placard parking sign and the van accessible sign. So it will be obvious that it's not for normal parking. All the standard parking is at the rear.
And that's the only parking space in the front of the building is just that one space.
Correct. The remainder of the parking as well as the dumpster is going to be at the rear of the building. Let's say that's there will be 7 spaces at the rear of the building.
Okay, so I'm looking at this diagram where the van is. So as I'm looking at it on the screen, to the right of it, there's some circles and what is
That's
all that?
landscaping.
That's landscaping. What is
Yes.
it? Do you know what it's going to be?
Let me up. I just tried to zoom through your plan. Let me
there's your plants down here.
Oh, thank you. So all right. So those looks like they were shrubs. Could you pan back up for me, please, Beth? I just want to double check what the symbol was.
Oh,
Back up towards Main Street. Thank you. So the symbol looks like WF, and then some SJs,
Mhm.
which would be WF are SJs are spirea shrubs, and the WFs are I'm gonna botch this. I
Okay, so
apologize.
they're plantings.
They're plantings, correct.
There are no structures per se.
No, there are no structures. There's the
Okay.
existing building, and then an accessible ramp.
And a ramp. So I have another question. Maybe this is to Bill. Or is there an attorney here that's going to make the points for a variance? Or
I don't know.
No, I believe I'm the only one here for
Okay,
the project. I don't think they have retained a an attorney.
Okay, so let me go to my next question then. Bill,
Yeah,
what makes this need a variance if there's no structure? It's lines on pavement and it'll be like it's a parking use. Does that, so that requires a variance?
well, I'm just not sure, Darlene. It struck me as weird because we've done so many of these projects and commercial ones. There's always stuff happening in the front yard.
Because this project has been going on, I think, with the planning board for a while.
Right.
And, we saw it as what do you call it? A referral. And I don't know if the handicap spot was put in like last minute as a need or something where that came from, but we didn't pick up. So is this like a last minute, oops, we need a variance? Maybe
I believe that's the case. Yes.
Yes,
Frank
we
can
were referred back to you during towards the end of the planning process. Yes.
And the planning board did that? Was that
Yes.
their idea? Okay.
So what's the front yard setback of the structure at this point? Because I remember seeing it and I can't find it on that print anymore.
Oh.
Was it 46 foot or something?
I thought I had that on the plans
Yeah,
as well. Let me
the
measure
plan-
that real fast for you.
The plan I saw says 46.
Okay.
Yeah, 46.
And then
From
there's
the-
two of them. And the other one, it says 46 and 30 feet required.
Right here.
Okay. So it's not a non-conforming structure. It conforms to the current bylaw from a setback point of view, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just, the reason why I'm asking is, so I don't know if I've ever been involved in hearing a variance application for a parking use. So that's why I'm asking these questions and wondering does somebody know where, and did the planning board say where in the bylaw that this would require a variance?
May I speak, Bill?
Yes.
It's 145-33-5. Actually C5. So you have to go to the bylaw and actually read it. It's called Parking Area Design and Location.
Yeah.
And number 5 states setbacks, in parentheses, except as noted in subsection C6. No part of any private parking area having 5 or more parking spaces shall be located within a required front yard as defined in Article 2, definitions, and Article 7, land space requirements.
Yeah.
This is within the setback. So therefore, the planning board couldn't grant a waiver for it because it's not within their purview. It's in the purview of the zoning board of appeals to do that.
Okay. So yeah, that's where I have a problem because if the land space requirement says that the setback is 30 feet, I don't know what the planning board's up to here. And if you have 46 and you knock the parking place down to 16 feet long, it fits, right? By higher mathematics. And then you just have to make it wider to comply with the 200 square feet. Plus, the thing that you just read about the 5 parking places layout, this is a single parking place. It's not a 5 parking place layout. So
Yeah, but
I don't think
the project
think it applies.
requires 5. The project requires 5 or more parking spaces.
well,
And
that's a site plan review criterion. Yeah, that doesn't mean that. Well, would you
But
reread that?
according to town council, the planning board couldn't issue a waiver, and that's the only reason they had to come for a variance. Setbacks says no part of any private parking area having 5 or more parking spaces shall be located within a required front yard as defined in Article 2, definitions, and Article 7, land space requirements.
Yeah.
Nor shall any private parking area be located within 5 feet of any property line except that where a lot has frontage on more than one street, thus establishing more than one front yard. The planning board may, as part of the site review process, designate one front yard as the primary front yard, then reduce the front yard setback requirements for parking on non-primary front yards. Any such reduction shall be limited to only those situations where the applicant needs the reduction to meet the parking requirements for the proposed use. But the setback shall never be less than 5 feet from any property line. So again, town council was present throughout the site plan review, every hearing, and he noted this as something that the planning board could not waive.
Right. Yep.
Well, the reason why we're trying to fight so hard with this is because variances are pretty tough to get, and you can't just give them because you feel like it. So what's the criteria for us? So can the project be set back a few more feet? How does this
Oh.
meet the variance criteria? Someone's got to argue that for us then.
Well, the building itself is already in place. It's not a new construction, so at this point, it would be impossible to move the building back in order to accommodate for room.
No, I also think that,
Right. This is
Beth read that no part of any 5 space parking area shall be in the front yard setback, but they didn't address the handicap parking plots, just a single place, you know?
Mr. Chair, you've got a question from town council or our town administrator.
Okay. Hang on,
I was thinking this
Go
was
for it.
Boyer property.
for it,
I
Eric.
thought it was the other one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I can speak just really briefly on this, I know I can see what the board members are kind of struggling with, and there's one other issue that I wanted to kind of throw kind of out to the board concerning this particular parking space, which is that this could very well be seen as a reasonable accommodation for an ADA compliant parking space. As I'm sure members of the board know, that handicap accessibility can sometimes trump setbacks for handicap ramps that go into setbacks. And as the engineers said, since this is the only location on the site that's adjacent to the handicap accessible entrance, I believe the board would be able to grant a variance to this as a reasonable accommodation for under the ADA, if the board so chose.
Okay.
So that I kind of wanted to speak to that because it came up at a staff level, and Beth had asked me to kind of try to articulate that to the board. If it was a regular parking space, the ADA, ADA reasonable accommodation obviously wouldn't apply. But the fact that they're trying to put handicap parking only in the setback, I believe gives the board the authority to grant a variance as a reasonable accommodation under the ADA. And that standard is very different from the regular variance standard.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
So let me ask a question. Would this parking space fit within the setback? If I know it doesn't work, you wouldn't see where the arrow is where you come in off the street, and the arrow on the left-hand side. So it's like a one-way that goes around the property. If a vehicle was able to pull in, not straight into the spot, but like perpendicular, I guess, to the building. Would that
I know what you
be
mean. Like
this?
if you could turn it sideways, if you could turn the parking.
Yeah, if not that I
90
want to make them do
degrees.
that, but would it need the variance? Would it fit if it was sideways?
It wouldn't need a variance if it was sideways because it's 10 foot wide and you've got 46 feet and you need to leave 30
Yes.
untouched.
Here's where I'm going with it. If it would fit sideways, given the variance to make sense to put it the way they, the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could go with that better than making an ADA special compliance, because I don't know if that, here's the thing. Variance, a variance isn't given to accommodate a project. It's like, oh, well, so your project doesn't work. That doesn't mean you get a variance. There has to be a reason, it has to fit the criteria. I'd probably have to be sold on the ADA a little bit in the variance criteria on how that would be okay.
Darlene, if I can throw something in at you to consider.
Sure.
What, depending on the type of vehicle that the person might have, they might have to have one of those, like a side elevator on the vehicle. So by turning it sideways and not boxing the elevator out up against the building, you'd have to have the rear of the building facing to the right. And then they'd have to lower their elevator, wheelchair, and then circle around the vehicle and then up the sidewalk. So, I mean, it's doable, but that would mean having to pull in and then back in.
Let me just make you, I don't want to suggest that it goes sideways, because I understand there's a
No, I
reason for it.
understand too.
But I'm just saying dimensionally, if the space fit, okay, cool. But the reason why it has to be turned is to make it functional the way it is in the plan. I just thought that would help the criteria a little bit. And I really wish Dave Chanel was here. That's all I can say, because he could say this a lot better.
Could we hear from, what's his name, the engineer again, Frank?
Yes, thank you.
What do you think about rotating that space 90 degrees?
I have a lot of safety concerns about that.
I like that.
If you are rotating that space 90 degrees, you'd be relying on someone pulling into the one-way and then backing into the parking space. That might cause a problem if there are multiple cars turning into the vet office at the same time. They would be expecting people, if they've pulled into that one-way part of the driveway between the building and the property line, to continue on towards the rear parking spaces. And then all of a sudden that driver starts to back up. I could see that causing a lot of problems. Whereas if it's someone backing out of the parking space and then driving around the building, I find that to be a little better traffic flow.
Frank, you just said the magic word, safety.
Safety?
Yes.
Thank you.
So back to my original question. I'm trying to get right to the, if this works, if I get the right answer, I'm good. Would it dimensionally fit there without going into the setback if it was the other way, perpendicular?
Yes, so what I have for a width, trying to get to my measurements. So the total width that I have there for the parking space and the accessible striping, which is the gore striped area to the side of it, that's 20 feet. So if I spun that.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about the accessible striping. Just the vehicle itself was the parking. The striping is a guide, right?
Understood.
Well,
Bill, are you following me on this?
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to do.
I'm trying to get that measurement for you. So so the parking space in width is currently it's not cooperating, and I again apologize.
That's right.
So I have a 10-foot space. So if I am 10 feet off of the 10 feet off my walkway, That's about there, and then tool measure length. I would be just at 30 feet
All right.
to the edge of my parking space. With rounding, it would be 30 feet.
So what does the rest of the board think of that? I mean, it would fit, but it doesn't work for safety reasons, and that's the reason why that has to be
I would have
designed like that.
significant safety concerns with.
Well, yeah,
that.
I hear what you're saying, but I mean, this isn't the Indianapolis 500 here. This is a
You been
fairly
down
low
there
key.
during rush hour, Bill?
That's a busy spot, actually. Yeah.
I mean,
No,
I don't think there's going to be enough traffic to really be concerned, and it's not like there's any visibility issues. It's very easy to see what's going on.
yeah. If I may try to address the sections of the variance decision sections where we have where we address things like the adequacy of the site, suitability of the site for proposed use, those items A through G. So yeah, we're
But those are special permit criteria. We've got variance
I
criteria.
apologize. I did a quick search. You're right.
Yep.
Variance.
Already-
Apologies.
Already got their special permit from the.
No,
All right,
listen,
so
it would be
this,
better not to do a variance. If we can just rotate that parking place and we can say, hey, you know, that's it. Go for it.
oh, no, they don't want to rotate the spot.
I have significant
No.
safety concerns about that. I
Yeah.
don't see that would be an adequate safe access for the parking. And I think what would happen quite possibly is people looking for that space would just pull straight into it.
Yeah.
That is possible.
I was just looking for that angle to be able to make it, you know, to grant the variance. I don't know, the ADA compliance thing, would town council be, would he be thrilled about winning that in a court of appeals, you know, like?
So
I mean,
if
I
I
don't
can
think
speak
it's-
to that real quick.
I'd be surprised if it went that far, Darlene.
But that's how we always handle them. We always make sure the variances comply with the 4 parts.
Yeah, so just so the board knows, I did discuss this with town council yesterday. And town council also agreed that the reasonable, Dave actually was there. Town council agreed that the reasonable accommodation of the ADA was the reason why this variance should be granted.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anything else to be said? I don't see any other hands, but I can't see much of the gallery at this point.
Because it's not topography. So under what part of the variance does that fit? So let's go through the variance criteria then. Let's cut right to it.
You got that in front of you, Darlene?
I don't know. The shared screen was kind of like,
Beth, do you?
I have 14566. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, there's a list of criteria for a variance similar to the one for a special permit, like you have A through G.
I have 14566. Is this what you're looking for?
Try scrolling down.
Well, no, that's what you can see it there.
yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere we had the 4 parts listed.
I think A1 and 2.
Well, it's 4 parts, and it's in the application
It
actually.
is on it too.
That's where it's
Okay.
spelled out a little more clearly.
Okay. So let's see if I can pull up the application.
And this is why we don't get variances very often.
Right in the application, huh? Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Where?
Down the bottom, 1 through 4.
Oh, okay. All right, now I have to try to get my screen over. Sorry. I'm working on a laptop too, so it's hard.
No, it's not that bottom thing. It's actually a little bit higher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not that.
Does
The
it go
1
like
through 4. There we
C,
go.
Is it
D,
the-
E, F?
The A through F.
There it is.
Yeah, that's it. What circumstances
Circum-
relating?
Circumstances of the particular soil condition, shape, or topography of your land or structure. It's a pre-existing structure, and we can't fit the, what do you call it?
The accessible parking space.
The parking place in the front yard's setback.
Yeah, I would suggest that it's C and it's the shape of the structure as
Yeah.
opposed to the shape of the land.
Without the,
I mean, we
Without
could
the-
say no, but then they'd incur the substantial hardship of having to possibly redesign the back of the building.
well, no,
And
you can't.
in internal renovations.
Right,
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, actually, is what it is.
yeah,
And then part E there, the granting
Mhm.
of this variance would not be detrimental to the public good, and I don't see
Yeah.
how anybody could think it was.
And
Yeah.
it is, it's a commercial area and it's not a dissimilar condition to adjacent properties.
Right.
I don't know if you can pull up the aerial, but on, the aerial from Google Maps, the parking at Bailey's Restaurant, is right up to the right of way. And then the parking for Dunkin' Donuts is at most, in the front parking in line with the front of the Best Friends building. So it's consistent with adjacent commercial properties and uses.
So that makes it not a substantial derogation from the bylaw.
yeah,
As far as item C goes, the
No,
lot
subs-
is long and
subs-
narrow with the existing dwelling in the center. The main entrance at the front is the only practical handicap accessible entrance, and thus the need for the accessible parking space in that location.
Wouldn't a
Um,
substantial derogation of the bylaw have to do, before we've said, well, you only need this much, this much dimension. Thought that was a dimensional thing. It doesn't matter what somebody else did,
Well,
because they only
okay,
need 9 feet.
I stand corrected.
Yeah. 9 feet, is that substantial?
Is that what we're talking? 46 minus 20.
Does Dave or Vicky have anything to add here? Help us out here.
Well, I think it's
Yeah.
30,
Yeah, it's 9 feet.
yeah, it's 30 minus 21.
yeah, so 9 foot difference.
It's 9 foot.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's in the application. Okay, right here, actually.
The only thing,
So-
not that I,
If we can see that 9 feet isn't a substantial derogation from the bylaw is what I'm getting at, if everybody agrees to that.
right,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
So here
Yeah.
is part of the application where each one of those letters were addressed.
Yeah.
By the applicant. That's a letter to the board, part of the application.
Okay, thank you. All right,
30 minus 21 equals 9.
all right, is there a motion?
Dave, you still have the notice in front of you?
I think so, let me check. No, I don't, give me a second. Come on. Public hearing notice.
Yeah, with all the names and address and stuff on it.
Yeah, it's not letting me bring it up. Oh, here we go. Okay. What part of it do you want?
I don't know, whatever part allows you to make a motion.
Oh, you suckered me into that one. Okay.
Oh, boy.
I'll-
Darlene's on fire tonight.
Yeah, she is. Okay, I move to grant a variance in accordance with MGL Chapter 40A, subsection 10, and the Townsend zoning bylaw. The parking area design and location for the placement of one ADA compliant handicap parking space within the required front yard setback.
According to the criteria, something about the 14566 we just read.
Yes, 145-33C, section 5, parking area. Bylaw 145-33C5.
Do we need the findings in there, or is that already recorded?
Well, the one, that's what I say, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. That's what I, the 145-66, you want to incorporate that we discussed the findings, subject to the findings of 145-66. Is that okay to say?
Sounds good to me.
All right, that's your motion, Dave?
That sounds good, yes.
I'll second it.
Beth can straighten out the language on it.
All right, so there's a second. Polling the members. Darlene,
Yes.
Dave Funioli,
Yes,
Vicky,
Yes.
who else? And
just
me.
yourself.
It's
And you.
just me. Cadigan votes yes as well. Motion carries. All right,
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Yeah.
no problem.
Thank you, Eric. Do you want to
Thanks.
have a motion for Chairman Cadigan to sign?
Oh, yeah. I move to allow Chairman Cadigan to sign the decision on behalf of the board.
Second,
Look at all those seconds.
Well, polling the members. Darlene,
Yes.
Dave Funioli,
yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
and Cadigan votes yes as well. So, okay. We'll do that.
Thank you very much. I
Frank,
appreciate
thank
your
you
time.
for all that. Thanks for answering all my questions delightfully.
Happy to.
Just as a side note, Darlene, isn't this like only the 4th variance that this board's ever granted?
Well, yeah, and Dave Chanel's got it burnt in our heads that half the variances people grant would never pass if they were ever appealed. So we make sure we do our job really good so that when we give it to you, you got it. No one's going to take it away.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night. Okay.
All right. What else have we got?
All right. So, I don't know.
Looks like we have 3.4 and 3.5 are left on correspondence.
Okay. So those are informational. 3.4 is just a notice that the building department has launched Permalink. So any building permits that you need, go right online. You all have the link.
Nice.
It's running really well. but it is, if anybody asks, it is the preferred way now to get those building permits in, because nobody wants to be doing paperwork and online permitting. But, so yeah, it's working well. The building commissioner actually has sign-offs from all departments. It's a great program. We're finding it's pretty flawless so far.
Does
Very
that
good.
include plumbing and electrical and all the other different ones that you need, or is it just building?
That's a good
I
question.
think it's
but
it'll be any permit that you
I
need.
think it's anything from building
Because it's like one
department.
application, you check the box, but just,
Yeah, and what's nice is we're able to add our permits onto properties as they come in. I'm kind of working, when I get an approval or a sign off, I'll upload like a stormwater management permit, or if there's a permit that's pre-existing, I can upload it into the system. So it's a great tool for the office to be able to come,
nice.
up for the files.
Hallelujah. Is this the one we pay a monthly fee for?
No, it pay it's a fee per permit, I believe. And so, yeah, the
Oh,
building,
okay. So it's per permit. All right, got it.
yeah, great. So that's
That's
launched.
that's a good system.
Yeah, it's
Because he was looking at stuff that where you would have to pay for some software, and
yeah.
it's nothing worse than a small software company to deal with. This sounds like it's going to be a lot more applicable and a lot more users than some of those other solutions. So
Yeah, all departments have access. It's a great way to track things. So it's great.
okay.
All right. And
So is that it?
No, 3.5. I'm looking at this. This is awesome. It's a table of use regulations, and I'll tell you, being in real estate, whenever I go to another city or town that I'm not familiar with, have everything memorized. A lot of towns have these, and it's just so helpful for a quick reference. And it's nice that we were able to do this.
Good. Yeah. That was a project from the former land use coordinator, who's unfortunately not with us anymore, but he's happily working in another job. But he worked pretty hard on that, and it has been approved by the building commissioner. I think you guys weighed in on it a few months back. I
A
don't know
long
if you're-
time ago, yeah.
Yeah, planning board weighed in, and it's in great shape.
So is this okay as far as I guess the disclaimer, this table is intended to be a reference for full
Mhm.
regulation. So is that everybody said that's okay for a disclaimer? Like, hey, we could have made a mistake. Don't, the bylaw.
Yeah. Well, you never want to hang
That's
your head
fine.
on something like this. You want to call the zoning enforcement officer, obviously, or the building, in our case, the building commissioner, the zoning enforcement officer, if you ever have questions about land use.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. That's good. A lot of progress. All right. Anything else? We don't have anything else on the horizon? No?
Did we approve minutes?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did that while we were waiting
You
for
missed
you.
that.
Yeah,
I hope
sorry
you
for
liked them.
being late. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have any issues, so just
Did we close the hearing? No,
Uh,
The decision closes it.
The decision closes it. We
Okay.
just close it. We could close the meeting if
But-
you're ready.
Well, I move to adjourn the meeting then.
Oh, the only
Oh.
thing is, if you're not going to meet, because there are no current applications pending, did you want me to arrange a meeting sometime in July for a reorganization of the board, or how did you want to do that?
Well, see what comes in. If we get something, we'll do it then. If we don't get anything for a little bit, we'll call a special meeting.
Okay, thank
See how
you.
it goes.
Beth,
Does that sound good, Bill?
That sounds great.
Beth, did you say that
Well,
you did or didn't get to talk to Dave Chanel about his intentions?
He's still pending. He has not submitted his reappointment form, and his term is for a 5-year term. And it expires June 30th. So,
All right, I'll reach out to him.
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of that, Darlene. That
Yeah.
sounds
I'm
like a
gonna
Robert
message
De
him.
Niro line from a
I'm gonna-
movie.
I'll
Did you get a
message
new-
him and tell him he needs to volunteer. Didn't he
Did you
just
get a new
retire?
set of
He is
leg irons
fine.
for Christmas, Darlene, or your birthday or something?
Tired. He can't say that he's busy.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, I'd love it if he would stay on the board. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll talk to him too. I guess he lost his father. When did his father pass?
Yes,
Oh.
a couple weeks ago. So,
Okay,
Couple
so
of
he's
weeks?
dealing with
Okay.
that. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So it's not a great time. Yeah. All right.
thank
Well,
you.
it's been real. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Did we
much.
Bye,
vote?
everyone.
No, we
Okay.
didn't. Did we vote on
Oh,
ending?
no. I made a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh,
Okay.
No
Second.
one seconded. There we go.
polling the members: Darlene,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Cadigan votes yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
thank you.
Good night,
Night.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.